Sal, you and I specifically have always tried to do our absolute best to make sure that our people are prioritizing their families. As a business owner, you can't do that with everyone.
Then I told everybody there, hey, my wife's gonna go into labor, so I might have to leave. They're like, oh, shaky about it. I was like, all right.
Whoa. You're saying, hey, my wife is about to have birth to our first child, and they're not being very supportive and understanding? How can you give children what they truly deserve? If I'm sitting here telling you that during the building season of our business, I am pumping gas and I'm eating taquitos, I'm back in the car, I'm back to building. That's how locked in you have to be in order to build anything worth building in this life. On today's show, we are going to dive deep into the $10 million question of, as an entrepreneur, when should I have children? Should it be before I begin to build the business? Should it be while I'm building the business? Or should it be after I've built the business? So tune in and stick around. Today we're tackling another $10 million question. And that question is, should you have kids before you begin to build out a business? Should you have kids during the build out of that business? Or should you wait and have kids until you have built out that business? So stick around and find out. Welcome back to the show. My name is Carlos Reyes. I am one of your many hosts here. And right across from me, the man needs no introduction. He's what they call the man, the myth, the legend, the most interesting man in the industry, all industries, Mr. Zaidy! To his right and my left, I got Born Closer, AKA Adrian Salgado. And to my left, my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal Shakir. Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back.
All right.
You seem fired up, bro.
We haven't been, it
You
hasn't
seem
been the
fired
four of
up.
us in a while.
I'm
Yeah,
zapped.
that's right.
You seem fired up.
I did a cold plunge this morning.
Yeah.
For the first time in, could be over a month, maybe even 2 months. Well, I've been cold plunging in Sedona technically, but you know what I mean as far as cold plunging at home. Yeah. So I am a little wired. All right, so let's talk, right? You know, I think every single entrepreneur, businessman, businesswoman struggles with this question, right? Now, hold on, let me rephrase that, because the people that already have kids and begin to build out a business, that's a little different. But if you don't have children and you're either single or dating or married, right? And you've been thinking about having children at the same time that you've been thinking about building out a business, right? Well, that to me is a $10 million question that has, I don't know, a multitude of answers. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
Right? So with that being said, right, I want to hear multiple perspectives. I want to hear your perspective, and let's try to see if we can help our watchers or viewers, our listeners, because I believe that a lot of them may be struggling with this specific question, right? So I'm going to repeat again, all right? Should you, as an entrepreneur, man or woman, have children before you begin to build a business, during, right, while you're building a business, or after you've built a business? Mr. Sal? Hey, I'll get you back to the show in just a second. I just wanted to come on here real quick and encourage you that if you are a business owner that's looking for top level coaching and a great community because you're experiencing challenges in your business, all you got to do is click the link right in the description and we'll reach out with more information. Now back to the show.
I don't want to just answer that. I think that's subjective. But we should talk about we should explore what would change if you have or you don't have kids, or what should change or what should give. Because in anything that we do, there is pros and cons to everything that we do.
Absolutely.
And then the next action leads to the next action, the next action, the next action. So if somebody who has kids or they don't have kids, I can just say if somebody doesn't have kids from the get-go, you have more time. With more time, you can accomplish more if it's focused time. Now, if you don't have kids and you're focusing a couple hours a day on business, and then the rest of it you're just effing off and having fun and buying, going partying, then no, you're not really.
Yeah.
You started as an entrepreneur well longer before you even had kids. You had kids recently.
How many years were you already in the business building journey before you had your first child?
Oh yeah, that
was, when was Giovanni born?
When I was 31 years old.
No, what year was Giovanni born?
2020.
2020. So you were at least 11 years in before you had your first child.
Yeah.
So I believe that our listeners and our viewers today are going to get to hear from, like I said, multiple people's experience. For me, I had Michaela, my 13-year-old, right? Man, I would say right around the time that I began to build a business. I was in the transition period of, man, should I begin to build a business? She was born, right? And then I began to build a business. And, that, we call it, what do we call it? We call it the lifting phase, right, of building your business. It's a heavy lift early. Right. First 3 to 5 years, I would say, as a standard metric across all businesses, 3 to 5 years. And that obviously depends on a variation of strategy and the people and your business acumen, whatever, a lot of different things, right? But that's not today's subject. So had my daughter right before I began to build a business. Then she is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old as I'm building the business, right? And then I have my next daughter years into already building a business, 2018. So that process was a lot different than my first child, and that season that I had her in. You, obviously 11 years in, praise God, right? So we're gonna get to hear, Adrian, before you rolled the dice with our organization, right? You, did you already have Isaiah?
Isaiah was, he was less than a year old.
So then you've experienced both with Isaiah and Jazzy. You've experienced both also.
Yeah. I'll definitely share my perspective because I did something completely different with both of the two for that specific reason. But go ahead.
Okay, beautiful. And Zaidy, you had children just like Sal. I would say years into already being out there in the business world, right?
Yeah. I feel like I should have had them sooner, but.
Oh my God!
It's
See,
it's
there's
God's
your subjective reasoning, because I think we're gonna get it. Our viewers are gonna get it from everywhere, from all different.
Don't want to spill the beans.
Yeah, and everybody weighs their own. That's the beautiful part about this. I love how when we do this dynamic because everybody gets to hear different perspective. The answer is not definitive. The answer is to whoever is listening within their circumstances, and they get to weigh these options and make a decision there.
And I want to be able to help every entrepreneur out there, man or woman, right, that is thinking about, starting a business. They're an aspiring entrepreneur, and they're also thinking about starting a family, right? Or the entrepreneur out there that has already started a family and has begun to start a business, right? So I just want to give it. I want to give as much experience and wisdom from the years, the decades of experience. Split. I'm not going to say split testing, right? But I would just say just from our personal experiences, right? Over
some
time.
of it failing forward.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I don't think we've done it to the highest capacity every time.
Yep. I'll give my perspective at the end. Okay. We're gonna start with Mr. Zaidy and then work our way this way, right? But here's what I will say. Okay. Some people will consider it selfish to actually wait on children, start your business, right? Some people will consider it selfless to have children and build out your business. You get what I'm saying? So again, every listener and viewer out there is going to have a treat today. But before we start getting or diving deep into that, I do have to say this. Yep, that's right, viewer, listener. I looked at the analytics the other day, and 67% of you are still not subscribed. So come on. Hit the damn subscribe button.
Hit the button.
We're bringing this to you every single week. Come on. Come on.
Come on.
Or comments. You know, we are seeing a lot more comments and a lot more likes, but keep those going. But subscribe, for God's sakes.
Anyway. The Z voice. The Z.
Oh, yo, you hear that? Push it. Push it real good.
Should put that song.
Push it. Dun, 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 dun. Subscribe real good. All right, Zaidy, where are you at with what's your perspective?
So, I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? That's what the thing, the saying says. So I say, you know, the various factors. You know, do you have your parents around? You know, do you have your uncles? Do you have that deeper family? Because for me, it was, all right, I had my children, both my parents were gone. So I was never able to give the gift of being a grandparent to my parents. So that weighs on me a great deal because of that. So that's why I say, you know, I could have started earlier. It just took me a lot longer to close the deal with my wife, you know. Took me, 15 years to convince her. So it's a lot of follow-up game, you know. But maybe if I don't know. But it's all God's timing, though, too, because at the end of the day, you know, I feel like the timing was perfect, you know. I look at my children now, and I just think to myself, well, if anything changed, they wouldn't look like they looked. It wouldn't be their personalities. It was just the semen that got to the egg would be completely different.
Yeah.
And the child would be completely different. And I would never replace them for all the wealth and treasure in the world, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's what they are to me. They are the wealth and the treasure in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So translating it to somebody going through a situation, you know, if you're starting out your business, you have the right relationship, you know, both of you want kids, you have your parents around, she has her parents around, or whatever, you know, both of you have your parents around, and you want to do it, I think you should do it, you know, but I don't think you should do it to get to the place. Remember, we were talking about that. Like, don't leverage your kids and be like, all right, I need to be successful, so let me have kids to push me to the edge. You know, like, don't do that, you know. But I think every man, and I don't say woman because I'm not a woman, so I don't know, but I think every man knows. You know, I think a man knows, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to be a father. I'm ready to bring life into this world and guide that child. And it's scary. You know, of course it's scary because nobody gave us a damn blueprint, you know, of like a workbook of like what to do, you know, what to do when they shit all over the place, like what to do when they're not listening to you, what to do when you're training them and then they're being kids and having fun, you know. So we just got to kind of learn to do it, and all of our firstborns kind of suffer because we don't know what the hell we're doing.
We were just talking about this yesterday, actually.
That's right. All of our
firstborn and secondborn is completely different dynamics.
That I'll never forget one of my good friends told me, man. I go, hey, but you got any advice? You know, I got a kid coming. He goes, you know what? With your first kid, if they fall down, you want to make sure they're okay. If they put anything in their mouth, you're like, oh my God, don't do it. By the time you have the third kid, they could pick up a pice of shit off the ground and eat it, and you'll be like, oh, they'll be fine.
God.
They'll be fine. You know, so it just gave me perspective. You know,
that. Not that specific scenario, but you know, I do. Yeah. I'm a little more on that frequency these days. But thank you for sharing that, and we're gonna get back to you know, more of your feedback and perspective. You know, as an entrepreneur parent. Mr. Adrian Salgado, what is your feedback, you know, and perspective from your personal experience with your two children and, you know, having this building season of 2017 to today?
Yeah, so I just realized it. So Isaiah was 2. He was born in 2015, and I jumped on with you guys in 2017.
Who's Isaiah, by the way?
My son.
Anyone that doesn't,
my oldest.
He's your oldest. He's your firstborn. Got it.
My firstborn, and it's a sacrifice. right, especially for me, right? I had to sacrifice. I was working 2 full-time jobs, basically. I was driving from midnight to 10 o'clock, and then I would show up to the office with you guys from like noon to 5
Did you
p.m.
sleep at all or no?
Occasionally. Yeah, occasionally there was sleep. Yeah, occasionally there was some sleep.
Casually,
But
Every now and then.
You wouldn't even eat. You're like, if I eat, I'll crash. I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, let's just go eat.
Damn, bro. Your signal to noise ratio.
Was
Ooh.
yeah.
What do you have to
signal.
do to get back to that?
I'll tell you what I need to do.
Have another kid.
I'll tell you what I need to do.
What? By the way, for anybody out there that's listening and does not understand what signal to noise ratio is, right? In my opinion, it's your ability to stay zoned in and focus on the calling, on the purpose, on your mission, on everything that you are attempting to build in this life. Business, family, health, like you are locked in. You are locked in and you are canceling the noise, AKA the distractions that are coming at you every single day from all angles.
Who's a good prime example for high noise?
Elon Musk, his signal to noise ratio, according to many, many high-level entrepreneurs, some of them even being billionaires, is over 90%. And Steve Jobs was like 70 to 80%. So imagine if they're 70 to 80, a guy like Steve Jobs, right? A guy like Bill Gates, you know, what's our signal to noise ratio and what should it be? Right?
But each one of them does have, there's pros and cons.
Of
to
course,
everything, right?
bro. Like, I don't even know if Elon even knows his 7th child's name, right? So anyway, listen, and that could happen. That's why we're having this conversation today. Back to you. Your signal to noise ratio in 2017 was Elon Musk-ish.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, for me to get back there, red line, you got to come back out with the little 7-hour energy shooters that had like 2 servings.
Little shooters.
Yeah, the little shooters. I used to knock down one of those at like 1 o'clock in the morning and a taquito from QT.
Ooh.
That was
No, it wasn't one taquito.
It was 2.
It was 2 because,
it was 2. Yeah, bro.
yeah. You know how I know that?
Because I still do it.
Oh, I don't, because when Sal and I were building our business, right, or our first business together, our signal to noise ratio was at the point where I would be pumping gas on the Prius and eating my first meal, which were 2 taquitos from QT.
Yeah.
That is where your level of focus needs to be. Now, with that being said, before I get back to you, if your level of focus needs to be there when you're building, how can you give children
Time.
anything else? Like, how can you give them what they truly deserve?
How can you
If
give
I'm
what you
sitting
don't even
here-
have?
What?
How can you give what you don't have?
How can you give away what you don't have to give? If I'm sitting here telling you that during the building season of our business, I am pumping gas and I'm eating taquitos as we're pumping gas, and I gotta eat them before that tips over or you know, marks full, right? So that I can put everything away. I'm done. I'm back in the car. I'm back to building. That's how locked in you have to be in order to build anything worth building in this life. Back to you.
Absolutely. So backtrack. The day Sierra went into labor, I was actually working overtime, doing an inventory at the warehouse.
Wow.
So that right there in itself, I was already transitioning out, right? I was that right there in itself was like, dude, I have to go to work. I can't sit here with my wife and, you know, wait for her to go into labor. Like, I have to go to work. And then I told everybody there, hey, my wife's going to go into labor, so I might have to leave. They're like, oh, you know, shaky about it. So I was like, all right.
Whoa. Hold on. Your wife is going into labor with your first child. And you're talking to your employer at that time.
Yep.
And you're saying, hey, my wife is about to have birth to our first child. You know, and they're not being very supportive and understanding.
They weren't 100% supportive.
What percentile do you
that
think they
mean?
really
Yeah, what does
were?
that
I would say they were like 75%.
That's not bad.
It
That's
wasn't-
not
it
bad.
wasn't too
Oh,
bad.
okay.
I had earned.
Yeah, that's
some,
not bad.
Some flexibility.
But what did they do to make you feel like they weren't supportive?
Well,
What, they
at the end of
couldn't
the day, making
operate for the day?
you know,
Like,
yeah, I mean,
gotta shut down?
let's see if we can get everything done before you have to leave. That was the comment.
but your wife is going into labor.
Yeah. So
Like, no, she's
Or
already
you need to
going
believe
into
like
labor.
right now. Right? So you're like, I need to go.
Like
See you
her
guys
water
later.
broke.
They're like, wait,
She-
Adrian,
she-
wait.
yeah.
Wait, did her water break?
Yeah, her water.
Okay, come on.
What is it? Hey guys, I'm out.
Like,
There's a whole story
I get
on
it.
that.
Okay, got it.
We'll get
So
Okay,
they didn't
got
give
it.
a fuck then. If they didn't
Anyway,
let you go, they didn't care.
So
There it is.
That being said, right? I had my son when I embarked on here. He was 2 years old. I like these useless information until it becomes useful, right? And I read somewhere that between the ages up until the age of 3, children don't understand the concept of they don't have the ability to create memories,
Ooh.
right? So up until the age of 3, that's when you start to develop that part of your brain that starts to create memories and remember things and stuff like that. So if my son's 2 and I'm about to embark on this journey, now would have been the perfect time for me to sacrifice what I needed to, which is the time spent with him, right? He's not very mobile. Well, he's mobile, but he can't really get into things as much. And
Yeah.
he's not going to remember the time that I missed with him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why the focus was there, right? I needed to hurry up and get this going.
Wow.
Because I needed to be ready for him when he's able to start remembering things.
Yeah.
My son at this day in life, he doesn't remember me working at Nabisco.
Bro, this is
He only
great.
remembers me working
Here.
with you guys
Yeah. Wow.
and going to the office and seeing that. That's all he remembers.
Wow.
Okay, for that, we do have to hit the oof because what this man just dropped, the information, right, about actually the knowledge of, hey, most of our children, right, it's humanly proven, right,
Yeah.
that they don't even begin to start retaining memories until around the age of 3. So that for anybody out there that already has a child and is in the building process, right? That right there that piece of information could be very, very, very useful.
Very true.
Right. So with that deserves a oof. Oof. Run back.
Yeah. So I did that, and sure enough, we started taking off. And once again, Isaiah at this point in life, all he knows is what I do now, which is fantastic. But then fast forward to having my daughter, which was in 2021.
Bro, it's your daughter. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I made it, and I came to you guys, and I said very early on, I said, hey, when Jasmine's born, I'm gonna take an entire month and work from home.
Ooh. And?
That was for me.
And?
That was a selfish memory for me because
And?
I could. And you guys gave me you guys were like, yeah, man, just get the work done, and we got the work done. And I stayed home for an entire month after my daughter was born because I had missed out on that time with my son.
There's a lesson there, by the way. There's a lesson there. Okay. Any business owner out there that's listening to that, right? Here's the reality. One of our core values and principles, right? This is as an organization, okay? It's always been what? God, family, hustle, right? Okay. There it is. God, family, hustle right here, right there, right here, right? God, family, hustle.
Click the button.
In that
We'll
order.
send you a sticker.
In that order, right? So number one, I believe that Sal, you and I specifically have always tried to do our absolute best to make sure that our people, right, are prioritizing their families. Number one. So I'm very grateful that, obviously we've done that, right? Absolutely. Number two is here's the reality of that. As a business owner, you can't do that with everyone. Because most people, most teammates, most coworkers, they will take advantage of something like that. But the only reason why they will take advantage of something like that is because their core values are not aligned with who you are and what your company represents.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so don't think everybody out there is like, oh, I get it. You're a family person, and you want to be able to put that out there, and allow everybody in your organization to do that. But this is why it's so important. It's so important. This is why it's so important to hire the right people, to build with the right people. Because then, you know, you don't have to, people that you love and trust, right? Remember? Because then you don't have to worry about the fact of like, okay, this guy's asking me for a month, right? It's like, does he really need a month? Is he really going to do his work? Right?
Can you trust him to do
we
job,
trust you to the point where it's like, he's not going to steal from the company. Let him be with this child. Boom. So you can't do that with everyone. And you should pray and hope that you hire people that you can do that with.
And if you got the right person, after they come back, they do more. They do
100%.
more because now they're more happy, opposed to like having somebody and not allowing them to do that, and then now the person's like grumpy. They'll probably quit in like a month or two. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Traditionally speaking, like it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, F you, you know, you didn't let me spend time with my kid, you know, my family. Like, I mean, you're gracious to even say that the other company was 70%, bro. Like, if your wife's water broke and they didn't like it wasn't like, go immediately, bro. Like, they didn't care, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
You're just
It's
a
very
number.
graceful of you to say 70%.
If anything other less than 100, you're just a number to them.
Oh yeah.
The water broke. I need to go to the hospital.
No, I get it, but the support, right? What I'm saying, like the support. I don't know if I don't even know.
Well, here.
I think you and I will be in the 90 percentile. Hey, go take care of that. I think, come on, the way you and I actually now.
Yeah, if you had to close the deal,
there's
you would call them.
there's still going to be a 5 to 10% margin there where we're like, but we're tilting way on that side of the 90-some percent. We're like, we're going to be like, go, right? But there's going to be 5 to 10% we're like, is this the right thing? Is it the right time? Is it,
So her water had broke the night before. We spent time in the hospital. Then they sent her home. Then I had to go to work.
Okay.
So we were just waiting for them to really come back to the hospital. So that was the.
So it's a unfolding situation.
It was an unfolding situation, right?
Yeah, but after I mean, again, I'm not a doctor.
But here's the thing. I still had to go to work.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not a doctor, right? Or I've never given birth. But normally when a woman's water breaks, those next 24 hours, like something's going down, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's 10 hours, 13 hours, 15 hours, right?
Yeah.
And then
Even less.
Sometimes you don't even.
it's
Sometimes
You don't even know.
Some,
That's when complications could happen too, and like a decision needs to be made immediately. Like, what's the decision? Like, hold on, let me call my husband. He's at work.
Here's what I believe. Now from experience, I don't care if you're as a man, as a husband, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a human being, right? I don't care if you're not excited about, maybe this is your 10th child or something, right? Again, here's what I'll tell you, right? Whether it's your first child or your 10th child, whether you're excited about it and you're ready to roll, right? And you're ready to step up as a man, as a husband, or you're like, oh, I'm not really in the mood, right? Because this is like our 10th child. Like, we've been through this, right? Regardless, I will tell you what never changes is what your wife, right? What your wife or what your significant other needs from you as a man during every single pregnancy and delivery.
Yeah, true.
Which is, I need to know that you are more than enough. Now, and my mom, I'm talking as a woman, as a woman that's delivering a child, right? My mom, my sister, that's all a bonus. But if you got my back to the fullest, because this is our child, I feel very good about everything that's going on right now. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
absolutely.
So just to concrete Zaidy's point, yeah, bro, a woman's water broke, you should probably stay home.
Yeah.
You should probably stay home. So that she doesn't feel like, because at that point, right, your wife, Sierra, is like, okay, water broke, spent the night, we're good.
Well, think about the stress she has.
He's going to
like,
work,
if
yeah.
I have to go somewhere, now I have to call him, like Zaidy said, say, hey, you need to get home. Then she has to wait for me to get home. Then we have to get ready to go, right? So there's a lot. And if you need a split decision, there's a lot on the line.
Or even just in your case, bro, like your wife's water breaks and you're supposed to go pay attention to work, like, you know what I mean? When that's going on and that could flip at any moment.
But that was
like, how are you going to,
that's
No, these are so
that's crazy.
high level, deep conversations. I'm like, Godfrey, would you agree? Like, we're over here, right? We're talking about business and when you should have children. We've gone deep to where
we've analyzed it.
We're talking
There's
about
a time
people's
frame.
water
So to wrap
breaking.
me up, right? to wrap me up, right?
Yeah.
There's a time frame from the ages of birth to 3 where you have that little window that you can sacrifice time away from your child to
They're
be
not
able
gonna
to
remember.
gain
From
more
your
time.
experience.
From my experience. And then I had my daughter, which then allowed me like, okay, well, now I have my daughter. I'm going to spend the time that I missed with my son with her, right? But then I'm going to get right back to it because, once again, she has until the age of 3 before she starts to remember that daddy's not home and daddy's not doing this.
How's your signal to noise ratio right now?
Today I came in fired up, bro.
Okay.
I came in fired up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you starting to use it as a principle in your life?
Yeah,
Signal
yeah,
to noise?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Because that's when you're locked in at that level, right? Now, here's the what's the word Dr. Boyd always says, the caveat, right? The flip side to the coin, right? Which is, can you turn it off when you go home?
What do you mean by that? Break it down.
That well, we'll get there, but we as men, as husbands, as fathers, right? As entrepreneurs, we need our signal to noise ratio here at work should be buzzing 80s, 90s percentiles. We're locked in. But can you turn it off when you go home? And now the signal changes to what?
Being a dad, being a
Being
husband.
home.
See, that's something when you talk about Steve Jobs, he never turned that
Well,
off.
Elon Musk probably doesn't do
didn't
that
turn
either.
off,
So
yeah.
here's why I actually prefer to live my life this way. When I'm at work, my signal to noise ratio with the mission here at work, that's what it is. But when I'm at home, right? You've seen me around my house.
Mission shifts to the family.
I'm chilling.
Yeah, but that is but that's still signal to noise. The signal is different.
It's a
now.
different
That's what I'm
signal.
saying. Yeah, that's, you switch
okay.
to signal.
Yeah.
Right now, you know how like in the old school radios, for some of the most of our probably watchers and viewers and listeners are probably too young to remember this. But back in the day, you know, we had these little radio boxes, and you can change the frequency, the channels.
Well, now for today's generation, it's like which Wi-Fi has fastest speed?
Yeah.
What signal?
Whoa.
And what's
Hold on. Okay, I want to get to Sal, but you got to break that down real quick. You got 1 minute.
Okay, so some of the people that listen to this show don't know about that, but everybody that listens to it knows about Wi-Fi signal.
Oof.
So when you go somewhere, it's like, what's the best Wi-Fi signal? It's just the guest one. It's usually the one that's locked. So it's usually the one that's locked.
I want to add something too, man, because we're talking about frequency. We have our frequency set, noise to frequency ratio at work.
No. Signal to noise
signal
ratio.
to noise ratio at work, and then at home. But obviously, it's God family hustle. So I think that's where abiding comes in. And my pastor told me something. My priest pastor, he told me something. He goes, "Prayer once a week makes a man weak." You know, WEEK weak, but then weak, WEAK. So it's like that's where abiding comes in, because when we abide, that's when our signal
You're
to
locked
noise
in.
ratio is locked in. with
You're locked
God.
in.
Yeah.
Well, now you guys know why I frequently go up north. Come on, bro. Why you got to give out my spot like that? Anyway, back to you, Mr. Sal. Your feedback on this whole, you know, should we have children before we begin to build a business? You actually built a business for over a decade, and then you had children, right? And you've seen firsthand with me and many other people, right, that they have children before they build out the business. They have children while they're building the
There was
business.
actually a point in time where you didn't even understand the concept of having children and working.
I was
at home.
desensitized.
Yeah,
Desensitized.
remember?
Desensitize?
From when I couldn't even have, you know, I love children. I played with them, but that connection, or that deep connection, or the empathy that a parent has, or not even a parent, you're not even a parent, you can have, but when you're obsessed about business, like the way I was, all I
The
did
way
is
you
business.
were?
Well, I was obsessed because that was everything. So business was everything for me. I couldn't even have a conversation outside of business. We would go out and, you know, socialize and drink and whatever it is. At parties, the topic I would talk about was business. If it was outside of that, it would stop at a few seconds, and that would be it. And by default, people would not have those conversations with me, right? So I was obsessed with that until I became a parent. But I was already successful back then, you know, and then I got married and I became a parent. So for me is there is always pros and cons. From hearing your stories, hearing Carlos's story as well, or being a part of the journey, there is pros and cons to everything. My pros was that my time was focused on business. The cons were that I was kind of, there was no empathy for me with anything else, and that was like I was just driven by ego, and my ego just wanted to be successful and have a lot of money, and that was it. Outside of that, there was nothing. So what happens next? My son was born, and I was learning the ropes of being an empathetic human being, being human. And it took some time so when my daughter came after a couple of years, she had a completely different experience. But what are the pros and cons? They have more financially stable life. For my son, maybe I wasn't there for the first couple of years, but then I was there emotionally. I was there physically, but emotionally I wasn't there. From my daughter, which was completely different.
Wait, your son's 5.
My son is going to be 5 in a couple of months.
Yeah, I think right now you're on fire with your son, but I feel like, this journey for you started maybe 2-3 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
3 years ago.
Which would comply
with the 3-year rule.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think God's timing for you has been impeccable.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
But you could almost hold that guilt if you didn't know that, right?
I'm like, I could have done better. Because I've seen what I could do with my daughter versus my son.
By the way, I saw you this weekend in the pool.
Yeah.
And I had to tell your wife was right there, and I was like, Sal, you better not start crying, bro. He was just sharing time.
I heard that.
He was sharing time with his daughter, and he was just like, oh my God. He was just so full of joy and happiness. I was like, bro, you start crying in the pool?
But bro, it was so great to see that, because normally when I picture Sal like in a fun environment, he's on the phone, he's making, he's
I don't
trying to
picture him
fix
like
a
that
problem or something like that, so it was beautiful.
See, that's the computer that you see me like a computer for so many years. I hated that. Everybody saw me as a computer, and I don't blame them, but I hated it.
But it's good to bring it up, because it shines a light on where you're at now.
Thank you. Yeah, and I had to work very hard on this, but my life mission is purpose, mission, calling now is completely different from what it was before. It was so limited before. Now it's expanded, and business is just one slice of that pie, and it's actually even a smaller slice than family, right? But most people talk about like family first, or God, family, and then hustle, like for us. But then, how big is God? How big is family? How big is hustle? Right? Those are all they differentiate. And for the longest time, the whole pie was business for me. And does it have pros? I would say the pros absolutely is there, but also, just like everything in life, there is cons. Just like there's life, there's death, there's happiness, there's sadness. There's always just as much of a impact this side makes, the other side can impact you. But you can condition that. You can actually work with that. If you spot these signals, if you really study the purpose and you understand where your next goal is, and what the cards that is dealt, what the cards that you have, or the cards that you're dealt, then you can make that other side much easier. Meaning that the suffering for your kids that you're gone, you can make that easier for them and on you, if you actually dissected that and understood that early on and said, how can I offset that? So you can just do your best and try to offset that on the weekends, after work, when you're there, before going to work, after coming from work. How can you offset that? So I do believe that there is a way you can balance that.
Well, I was just about to say, based on my experience, right, over, the past 13 years with my daughter, right, as a father, now that I've seen, having a child before you build out a business, and then having a child while you're building the business, which was my Michaela, my oldest she was there before I built out the business, and then she was there during that lifting phase, right? And then having Sienna once I was pretty stable, right? Here's what I will say. As an entrepreneur, when it comes to having children, from my experience, okay, the best case scenario is to build, to systemize, and maybe, just maybe, if there's a little bit more margin for you, you optimize.
Before having kids.
before having children. Why do I say that? Think about it, right? You build, you systemize. I believe at that very moment, boom, you're in a good situation to have a child. Because even the optimization will come before those 3 years where a child can retain and preserve memories.
And it's ongoing. Optimization is ongoing.
And you're
anyway.
never going to stop
Yeah.
optimizing.
And you know, the
Right.
3-year thing that Adrian was talking about, which I'm so glad you said that because it's like a good fail safe to have. But I feel like those first 3 years are more for us, you know, like experiencing stuff with our children. Like,
Well, that's why I took with my second child. That's why I made sure at least the first month.
that's smart.
I'm the one changing the diapers. I'm the one, waking up in the morning,
Doing
things
all
like
the stuff
that.
you couldn't do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just because I could.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
But you were saying the process of having the child in itself. When we as entrepreneurs, you said it right. It's the systemization. Even not as the business owner, but as working within the business, I couldn't have asked, or I couldn't have asked for the month of work from home time if there wasn't a huge push right before that time came. So what I did make sure I did was push heavy, focus, right? What is it? The signal to noise ratio, right? You have to dial it in. That way you can set yourself up, because the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, regardless of if it's good or if it's bad, children do take time, and that's nothing that we can get more of or we can't have less of. So regardless of what it is, a child is going to take time away from you. I wouldn't say away from you. A child is going to occupy some of your time.
For sure.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Regardless.
Yeah. So if you don't have systems or processes in place for you to be able to kind of free up a little bit more to delegate that to, then it's going to be a hard.
Go ahead.
Before you, that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier, and you just articulated it better. Be intentional and understand the situation. Therefore, you can offset it properly. In your case, you offsetted it prior to that, whether it was a month work, 2 months of worth of work. So when that day arrives, you already have that.
There's
in
no
motion,
lack.
right? Yeah. So comprehend the situation and act accordingly. Gather that information and know where you want to go next, and then now you can apply that easily.
Yeah. Oh, you guys didn't do it. Do the right shake. Oof. All right. It's like Avatar when they connect, right? Anyway, we're going to close down with this. I'm going to go around and then we're done, okay? In my opinion, some of the worst entrepreneur parents, this is something I wrote as we're talking. Some of the worst entrepreneurial parents are the ones who give their children the rest of them and not the best of them. And let me break that down. If you are a parent, right? If you're an entrepreneur and a parent that has built, that has systemized, and that is even optimized, is in the level of optimization for the rest of their lives, and you still don't give your family the best of you, you still give them the rest of you. Actually, the worst ones are the ones that portray online. They force my family, the pictures and the videos and the captions but you know that's disgusting, because most people that actually give the time and the love and the attention to their families don't feel the need, right, to offset the lack of by pushing it publicly.
Yeah. That's selfishness.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
timestamp that puppy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's selfishness.
No, by the way, I see it every single day.
Well, what's the common phrase you hear from those people? Oh, I'm doing this for my family. I'm building this business for my family.
It's just regurgitated something to say.
I think these people,
I've sacrificed this for my
especially these online online entrepreneur parents, I believe that they're just really good at building an image and not really building a life. I think they're good at building an image. You get what I'm saying? Where I believe, because I know you guys all personally, I know your wives, I know your children, right? I know what kind of underwear you wear, Zaidy.
What kind of underwear?
Hanes.
Boxers or briefs?
No,
Brief.
he's a brief.
Gray Hanes
Boxers, briefs, or
I've seen
free
it.
You're
ball?
definitely boxer briefs.
I free ball, bro.
Okay. Anyway, right? Here's what I'm gonna say. Guys, do not be that parent like a lot of these online entrepreneur parents, right? That has already built, stabilized, and optimized your business, but you still consciously choose to not give your children what they need and desire from you as a parent because you are too greedy and you are too much of a glut, that you're still chasing whatever it is that you believe you're chasing that is going to fulfill you
Someday later
when it's right in front of you.
They tell themselves, my kids will thank me for this later.
It's disgusting, bro.
No, they won't. Yeah, they won't.
It's disgusting.
I would, bro. That yesterday at the pool or the day before at the pool, that to me is worth more than $100,000 check or whatever.
Oof.
Absolutely.
You know those are memories. We're all here trying to collect memories.
Yeah, so true.
And by the way, we're gonna close this thing down, right? I asked AI, when should you begin to have children as an entrepreneur? Before you build out a business, right? During the time you're building a business, or post, after you've systemized and optimized. And it says, here are the pros and here are the cons, just like you. You're like AI. Sounds like,
I'm trying to shake
should we call him AI
stigma
Sal?
off, and he just like latches it back on.
No, it's good, right? Because you do have to, the flip side, right? The flip side to the coin, which the pros and the cons. You have to take all that and then make a decision, right? Before you build out a business, pros, you can establish family stability early. Kids can become a motivating why behind your drive to succeed, right? You build with legacy in mind from day one. I understand that, right? But here's the cons. Before if you have children before building a business, early years with children are time intensive. It may slow down the 24/7 hustle required at startup stage, right? Financial stress can hit harder when you're still proving the business, right? So we already know that you're not gonna be as financially stable your first 3 to 5 years of building up
And
building
the
up
kids'
business.
needs might suffer.
Yeah.
They might need some certain foods that
That's
you might
right.
be able to deliver to them.
Or yeah, exactly. Ready? During the build, this is how we're ending the show, okay? During the build, this is what AI said. Pros, you're already in the grind mode. Family responsibilities can force structure and balance. Kids can keep you grounded when stress is high. I can see that. You learn to prioritize what truly matters. I can see that too. Cons, divided attention. Building a company is like having a first child itself. I do believe that. Wasn't I having that conversation with you today? Right? About like, it's like your business, depending on when you begin to build it, is your first child.
That's right.
Or baby.
Right? So anyway, risk, here's another con if you have children during the building phase, right? Risk of burnout if you don't set boundaries. I've been through at least 3 burnouts that just were, they impaired me. They completely
They were
impaired me,
debilitating.
right? I love that word. Well, I do and I don't. Anyway, now if you have children after the business is built, like a Sal, okay, and like some of us, right? You can provide financial security, time freedom, and stability for your family. You've already established systems, people, and to some degree wealth, right? Only cons is biological timing. Waiting too long can make it harder, which I do understand,
Like Zaidy.
right? And
Well, he was talking about like being grandfather, his.
you may miss out. Another con is you may miss out on the emotional richness of kids growing up alongside your journey. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't agree with that. So anyway, when is the right time? Let's close the show. In my opinion, I've already given my opinion. When is the right time as an entrepreneur to have children, right? First of all, there's never a right time, right? Having a child, there's no right time to have a child.
Yeah.
It's like getting kicked in the nuts. Is there ever the right time to get kicked in the nuts? No, I'm not even compared to that. I'm not going to compare it to that. No, having children is one of the most beautiful things you ever experience. So it's actually the opposite of getting kicked in the nuts. But anyway, here's what I'll say, right? If you can build, systemize at a bare minimum and then have children, you will experience the highest level of joy, nirvana, love, right? Because now you've already built, you've already systemized, you have some financial stability, and now you also have the freedom of time.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Well, actually, we're going to get to you now, right? So that's my feedback from my experience of, being in this game as long and having children, etc. Mr. Sal?
I think that no one knows what's the perfect timing is, and I think that with
so
all,
wait,
what
so
we
is
said
it like getting kicked in the nuts? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You ever been kicked in the nuts?
I
Sal?
have.
Who kicked you in the nuts?
I'm a kid from Iraq. What do you think?
I know, but
kids
who
were,
kicked you?
were
Damn, is
ruthless
that what
there?
you guys do for
You guys
fun?
just kick each other in the nuts to see who's tougher?
It wasn't like that. Oh, bro,
My
you get in a
God.
fight. What happens?
Wait,
you
if people get they like to kick in the nuts?
It's common, bro, for third world countries to throw
They-
kicks
yeah,
instead of
kick them-
punches.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
headbutts.
God.
Oh, I was a master at
See,
headbutting
bro?
things.
I think
Yeah, you guys are different.
good old fashioned fisticuffs,
Yeah.
bro. That I don't think that
like,
that was here in the U.S.
Everyone's been
honorable?
kicked in the nuts. Whether
Like, hey, let's
accident
have
or
an
not.
honorable fight.
Nah, bro.
He's like, let me try to kick him in the nuts first, right?
That's
Debilitate him.
Yeah.
That's a great strategy.
Yeah. Well, now we know we know what you're doing if you get in a fight.
Oh no, I headbutt. That was my
You're
move.
you headbutt way right to the nose.
Actually, fun fact. I just realized
nuts.
this. Dr. Boyd, I just went and did the full executive exam.
You have that space in
and
there?
you have a space, and I'd like to think that this is like you were a warrior back
Yep.
in the day, and
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yep.
doctor, I don't know if this is funny or not, but I used to have anger issues, and I used to fight, and like my head, but
Yep.
I've headbutted this thick wood, and I cracked it, and I lost a tooth actually.
Wait,
That's
how'd you lose a tooth if you were headbutting?
I hit it so hard.
The impact was that
was so
strong
hard.
and the tooth
bro.
flew
Yeah,
out?
and I cracked
Oh my
the wood.
gosh.
It was that it was that. Anyway,
Yeah,
problem.
back to- yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is that God's timing. When people say like if I were to tell you God's timing, you're gonna think it's a passive comment. I really mean this. God's timing can never be more perfect than that. God's timing is perfect, and the only way for you to spot that is to always be on the lookout. What's called God's winks. Listen to God's winks. God always winks at you, and it could be a moment that you're driving and you hear some kind of voice, or just a moment of a download or something comes through your mind, and you're like, what is that? Don't overlook that. Be on the lookout of those things. It could be visual. You could hear it. It could be some comment somebody says, some stranger, and then it starts to fester, or whatever the word is, starts to expand. Listen to those and expand on it. That could be your timing, and God is trying to tell you that. So listen for those winks. Google God's winks. Maybe that will.
There's a book out there, I believe, called God's Wings.
Yeah.
Look for
don't know,
the
perhaps
God's signals. Right? Look for the signals from God. Is pretty much what you just
Absolutely.
said. Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, I don't think there is. Once again, there is no perfect time, but just know when the time comes, you have about 2 to 3 years worth of, runway.
Of a margin.
Runway to really ramp things up, because as soon as children are able to start developing, memories, this is my purpose in life now, right? It's not my children specifically, but it's experiencing first times for myself and my children. Right? So the first time I go to Hawaii, the first time I go to Japan, I want to go to Japan next year.
I want to go to Japan too.
And the first time that I want my son to be there. I want my
wanna
wife to be there. I
sumo
want my
wrestle
daughter to be
someone.
there. Right. So my purpose in
I
life now
will
is
wear the sumo.
we will.
You want to
engage
sumo
into
wrestle
a
each other,
sumo wrestling
bro?
You're
You
more
want to
built like a
sumo?
sumo
Yeah.
than
You want to sumo me?
I do.
That is an amazing.
I'm gonna sumo
That's
him.
great content, bro.
Yeah.
What?
You should take Godfrey to
We're
record it.
going to
Yeah,
Japan.
I'm gonna put him on. I'm gonna put the sumo underwear on. You're gonna put the sumo underwear on,
That's such great
and we're
content.
gonna have a sumo wrestling contest. You and I,
That's awesome.
Bloodsport style.
Oh, Kumite.
Anyway, yeah.
Kumite.
But go ahead. Sorry, brother. I interrupted.
No.
You made me interrupt.
Bro, well, now I
forced
get to
me.
share a first time with you.
Yeah, we're going
as
to
well,
Japan
too.
together. And our kids want to go to Japan.
Our kids want to go to Japan.
you
So, no right time to have a kid. The clock does start ticking once you have it. You got a little bit of runway to sacrifice the time with the child to be able to amplify the amount of time you get with the child after it's 6 months.
And by the way, before we get to Zaidy, I believe that is one of the I think we deeply and subconsciously, right, because of what we've been through, we wish optimization for every business owner out there. And that's actually one of the most fulfilling things for me is when we help people scale their businesses, is that we help them make more money, but we help them create more time. To me, that's more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't tackle it just from the money aspect.
Yeah.
We tackle it from both aspects.
Yeah.
Freedom of time, spending time with
Right.
spending time with yourself, whatever that is.
Absolutely. Shameless plug, right? Text scale to 623-292-7575. Text scale, shameless plug, 623-292-7575. We want to help you scale your business so you can scale your life, or we'll help you scale your life so you can help your scale your business, whatever comes first. Yeah. Mr. Zaidy.
There's no shame in that game, bro. That's help. So if you need a lifeline, that's your wink right there, bro.
Zaidy, the wise.
I mean, you guys just hit every single point, I would say every individual knows when it's time. Like, and ideally all of us, I think everybody would be like, yeah, I want to have my business built. I want to have systems. I want to have money in the bank that, it's all expendable. And then I want to have kids. But ideally, it's not always like that, right? And I think people told me this, very wise people told me this when I was engaging in conversations about, should I have kids or not? And I was like, I just want to wait for a little bit more money in the bank account.
You had kids at a late age, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So you took the little scrappy...
Well, I didn't settle and just knock up somebody off the street. I wanted...
Whoa, dude. Well,
I wanted the right one. I'm still waiting for the right one.
With the mother of my child. Yeah, I got no baby mamas over here. What's wrong with
you closed your baby mama faster. It took me 15 years.
You took the advice from a wise man named Little Scrappy. I got money in the bank, and then it was shorty what you drank.
Oof. I don't know. I don't listen to stuff like that.
Oof.
But what I'm saying from high school.
Huh? I got money in the bank. Shorty, what you drank? Was that you, Zaidy? You little scrapper.
No, it's not. But I will say again, in me personally, like my timing, right? I always wanted my woman to be there before the grind, during the grind, and then get the fruits. Just me personally, the way my personality is, if I had a woman after I was already successful, I would not treat her as an equal.
Wow.
So I never wanted that. Some people could, it's a personality thing, right? Not everyone's like that. But me personally, I know that if I built this thing and then somebody came, I would never be able to like that shit ain't yours, bro. Shut up.
Zaidy, you just chose our next week's episode.
But now, because my wife was
married.
No, yeah, which is
when
right.
we get married.
No, it's like, and I think we'll hear multiple perspectives there too, because of where everybody is.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, who is the right, as an entrepreneur, who is the right woman? Right. Is it a woman who has suffered with you?
Oof. Yeah.
Or a woman that came into the fruits of your labor?
And there, I don't think there's a wrong answer. It depends on you, what you want, right? Like I know my personality. So I know that was a weakness for me.
Well, don't give it up. That's for next episode.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful. My wife has been through the shit with me, trying to figure out how to make things work. And so anytime there's excess, it's like, I'm excited to give to her.
Well, with that being said, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you feel like this was a powerful episode, do me a huge favor. Push it real good. Push the subscribe button. See you guys next week.